Coming up, gone but not forgotten. 2 East Texas children die in Saturday's tornado outbreak. We spoke to a neighbor who was the saving grace for these parents, how he describes that horrific scene that night. Also, an Alto woman says she is thankful to be alive after her home is destroyed. A closer look at the devastation left behind in Cherokee County. And coming together in faith, East Texas churches work to gather donations and provide shelter for tornado victims. What they say you can do to help make a difference.
Local, experienced, trusted. This is KETK Live at 5.
A terrifying twister caught on camera. This tornado touched down in Lovelady Saturday evening. Now that's south of Crockett on Highway 19 in southern Houston County. You can see the rotation and a lot of debris picked up by the strong winds. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us for KETK's Live at 5. I'm Isaac Ramirez. Trent Bennett is on assignment. A deadly tornado outbreak. 2 twisters have left a trail of damage and destruction in Alto and across Cherokee County. Now those who live there say the town is no longer recognizable. Now 4 people have died so far and at least 20 others are injured. 150 buildings are damaged and 50% of the town is still without power. As residents start to pick up the pieces, officials ask that onlookers stay away from the town so they won't hinder cleanup efforts. Well, 2 of the 4 victims are siblings from Pollock. That's over near Lufkin. We now know 3-year-old Jace Creel and 8-year-old Dylan Creel were killed when a tree fell on top of their car just off of Highway 843. Now, the family of 4 was trying to get home safely during the storm when they came across a tree blocking their path. Now, they reversed trying to get out of there when another tree fell, this time on the back of their car. Now, that's where the 2 little boys were buckled in. The mother ran up to a nearby neighbor in panic, screaming for help.
I asked her, I said, what's wrong? What's wrong? And she said, please help me. She said, a tree's on my car. My babies are in the car. My babies are in the car. So I said, okay, you stay here. So I ran down here, and when I got down here, I saw her husband. He was running back and forth around the car trying to move the limb, which, I mean, it wasn't going to be moved.
Now this video right here is showing you the part of the tree the neighbor was referencing. This is what was on top of their car that officials had to remove. He says the family does plan on putting memorials up in honor once the debris is all cleared. Well, continuing coverage on the destruction left behind in Cherokee County. Many are still without power this afternoon and some without homes. KETK's My Owens is live in Alto, where one woman is trying to remain positive after losing everything. Now, Mai, how much damage have you seen throughout that town?
Well, Isaac, just walking around, I've seen tons of damage throughout this town. Take a look at this. These steps are all that's left after the trailer home got hit by the storm. And now you can see on this side of me, the entire home is completely gone. And now the owner says she's just blessed to have survived this and be alive. Stephanie Hart, she spent the day looking around at the remains of her house after living here for years. Walls, toilets, and pictures were found hidden under the dirt. Thankfully, she says once her family heard there would be tornadoes headed this way, they took what they could and left. Volunteers came out today to help clean up, stacking trash and valuables in separate piles. And as Hart watched, she felt thankful to be alive.
My intuition said not to stay. Not just leave, because tornadoes, you know, it's not anything to play with when you're in a mobile home. I was always told that you need to try to find shelter elsewhere, and this is the outcome. And I'm glad I listened to, you know, my intuition to leave and not try to stay and weather the storm.
Now, the Hart family says the next step for them is to talk to their insurance agency and try to move on from this devastating storm. Now, coming up at KETK News at 10, I was walking through all of this with Mrs. Hart and the volunteers when she told them to just get rid of everything. But I'll show you what changed her mind. Reporting live in Alto, Mai Owens, KETK News.
All right, thank you very much, Mai. Well, this dramatic drone video shows the devastating storm damage in Houston County. This footage was shot by Shearer Drone Works in Crockett. It shows homes flattened or torn apart and trees leveled by the winds. Now, crews are facing a monumental task of cleanup. Power lines are still down throughout the area, so use extra caution as you start picking up debris. Oh, and that deadly storm is to blame for at least one death at Cattlemount's historic site. This after the storm surprised hundreds of visitors out enjoying an event. Inside were about 30 to 40 people watching a performance. Those attending say they couldn't hear the storms because the event was so loud. Now, some stayed in the building when the winds came. Others ran to their cars. The ones who ran were told sustained more injuries. Among those, a man who suffered a broken neck, who deputies say was trapped inside his car for hours. Now, cell service was poor, so they had to say they had little to no warning before the storm even hit.
It happened so fast, you really didn't know what was going on. You really didn't have time to panic. The wind picked up, the rain started coming in straight, and when we started debris start picking up, I went into the office in the back and then turned into another office, and then the air pressure dropped. You could feel the pressure on your ears, and I dove under a desk, and that's just when you heard the building explode.
He adds as quickly as the storm hit, it was over. Then they got to working, helping others and treating their injuries. He estimates it was 2 or 3 hours before first responders could get to them. As the city of Alto recovers from the storms, churches around the community are gathering donations, helping those who lost everything. The River Church opened its doors last night, offering food, water, and prayer. Pastor Ron Rose says everyone is welcome to take refuge at their church. They have everything from dog food to diapers, but are in desperate need of insulin and diabetic strips. The Red Cross is also there to help victims, and this morning the church held a service, and Pastor Rose said it was the only one happening in the entire city. He says his goal was to show the people of Alto that they can find comfort and support within their community.
It's in times like this. We have one family that lost her 2 grandchildren, and we all have so much to be thankful for. And someone asked me yesterday, are you going to have service? I said, I'm going to worship the Lord if I'm by myself. And of course, that's not going to happen. But to pray for those affected, to worship God that we're still here and able to help.
The Alto Police Chief is now asking donations be dropped off at the Alto Missionary Baptist Church because River Church is full. Alto ISD has canceled school for Monday after receiving tornado damage. According to Superintendent Kelly West, there will be crews Monday inspecting the structural integrity of all the buildings. School will be canceled until everything has been deemed safe for students and staff. Lufkin High School also says they are canceling classes due to storm damage. They ask that all staff and students stay off campus while damage is assessed and cleaned up. The city of Alto has issued a boil water notice for some residents living along Farm Road 752. Now, this is affecting nearly 20 homes in that area. Residents should continue to boil water until further notice. The Houston County Sheriff's Office is reporting Highway 21 East has been reopened. The highway had been closed from Huechas east to the county line due to heavy debris from Saturday storms. TxDOT, the U.S. Forest Service, and several volunteer firefighter companies helped with the cleanup. Those wishing to help storm victims in Alto have a variety of ways and places to give. Missionary Baptist Church on East Elkhart Street in Alto is accepting donations of supplies, and those wishing to help with cleanup efforts can bring chainsaws and tractors to the church, and officials will disperse you from there. You can go to our website, easttexasmatters.com, to read the updated list of supplies that are needed. Well, coming up on KETK's Live at 5, overcoming obstacles. Why members of an East Texas church damaged in Saturday's storm say no matter what, they will remain thankful. And it's been more than 200 days, but former Longview Lobo Chris Davis finally got a hit. Garrett Sanders will put it all into perspective later in sports.
And today was a nice spring day, but it is spring, which means another chance for severe weather in the 7-day. I'll let you know when the storms could be arriving coming up after the break. Stay with us.